Hello and welcome everyone to Clicks and Classics Night Call. You guys voted and decided that the next game in the Clicks and Classics series will be Night Call, and I'm very excited to share this experience with all of you. For those who are not familiar with Night Call at all, Night Call is going to be a film noir inspired visual novel playing in Paris, as we are a taxi driver and we will experience the game and the story through the eyes of a taxi driver. So, very excited to check that out with all of you and see where this all leads. I don't know much beyond that, other than there will be some kind of investigation and some crime going on, I guess. But I'm very excited. It does look like a game that I will really like, and I really hope so. And I hope that you like it as well. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts on the game are. And also, if you have been in Paris before, or maybe are very familiar with Paris for another reason, let me know in the comments below if there are any nice little trivia facts about the places that we will end up in. Maybe there are some hints and little mentions of places, people, and everything in between that might be interesting. So let me know in the comments below about all of that. Very much excited and interested in hearing about that. But now, let's waste no time. Let's jump into the game and start a new one. This one is just a test one. I haven't played it at all. I had to figure out, though, if the game works or not. So we will do a surprise investigation. The game will randomly pick an unsolved investigation. Let's go with balanced. And let's do this. Night Call. A doctor, okay. Ear? Sir, can you hear me? Or do I need to speak up? Yeah, you're fine. She takes a deep breath. Sir, you just spent 2 weeks in a coma. The word bounces around your head. You need a moment to understand its meaning. Coma? The word scratches along your throat. Yes, you were the victim of an assault. The word resonates in your head. Victim. You're aware a serial killer is currently on the loose in Paris. You feel the contents of your stomach crawling up your throat. The judge, as the police call the killer, assaulted you. The bullet touched your liver, and in most circumstances it would have been fatal. We chose to put you in an induced... Her voice becomes more distant, fades. You taste bile at the back of your mouth. Your head is burning. You hear a whistle in one ear. Your fingers move to your wound. Underneath the bandages, you can feel hard skin. It is incredibly painful. Did they... I'm sorry? Did they catch the judge? No. Hey. What about the cops? The doctor is silent for a second. A very awkward second. She hesitates. The police would like to see you as soon as possible to ask you some questions. After all, you're the only one who survived the judge. Noise in the hallway attracts your attention. You try to turn your head, to no avail. You need to rest. She leaves the room. Her voice resonates in the hallway. I don't care he's the only witness. He's... Another female voice joins in a strong authoritarian voice. You can't clearly make up what she's saying. A strange feeling washes over you. It's not pain, not fatigue, some odd combination of the two. Before being in this hospital room, you'd never realized that anger was made up of a combination of pain and exhaustion. Anger. A feeling you know all too well. Days go by, and a month later, night 1. Well, look, I've got a bit of a problem. A real problem, that is. You have a pounding headache. It's your first night behind the wheel since the attack. Are you listening to me? Catch your boss's eye in the rearview mirror. Yeah. He stares at you for a second or two without speaking. Sometimes I wonder what goes on inside your head. You always seem so far away. Don't react. He's watching you closely, trying to make out what's going on in your head. You know I'm worried about you, don't you? I know. You're like a son to me, you know? I know. And you know he's about to tell you the story of his taxi fleet again. When my father died and left me the store, I could have sold it. I could have retired, gone back to the old country. But I'm gone. I decided to start a cab fleet with the money you left me to hire the guys from the neighborhood. And that's why I've got 45 guys like you working for me. His hands flutter in the air. But none of them are any match for you. He smiles. His voice suddenly takes a serious note. Do you want me to go over everything again? He points to the equipment on the dashboard. The meter, the GPS. You haven't been in a taxi for weeks. Maybe you do need a little refresher. Yeah, it's a good idea. Right then. Well, first the map. You spot potential customers and try to guess where they'll be going. Then you decide. When a customer orders a taxi, if there's no one else around, you have to go pick them up. He shrugs. That's the way it goes. It's business. The other fares, you look at the map and decide whether or not you want to take them. And then you drive. He flashes a quick, mechanical smile. You know it well. When he talks about work, he talks about work. That's all. Your shift is over. We do the numbers and... His voice trails off as if searching for the right words. Well, that's all. It's pretty simple. There's no reason why you can't do it. Oh, right. No overtime. We're in France here, and there are rules, regulations. You might not see it that way, but no one likes having a driver who hasn't slept for 24 hours. He looks away. Something's been bothering him since he got into the cab. Anyway, you know the ropes. You get it. I know you're going to do a good job. What's the matter? The boss keeps quiet for a while, as if he's hesitant to speak, and then... I don't think it's a good idea. You shouldn't be driving. The murderer is still out there, and we think he's going to come back. For you. We? Your colleagues. I do too. Anyway, I'll let you get back to work. Every minute spent in your taxi is a minute lost. He gives you a smile, half ironic, half serious. Good night. Same to you, and good luck. He'll spend the rest of the night dealing with problems of drivers. You wonder how and when the guy ever gets any sleep. Your boss opens the door and exits the cab. You watch him cross the street and enter the fleet garage. A couple of colleagues are milling about. Taxis are coming and going. They all ignore you, consciously or unconsciously. You're branded. You sit there a moment, then turn the key in the ignition. The hum of the engine sends a tingle down your spine. It's possible to describe how you missed that feeling. It's back to the night shift, back to life. Despite the attack, despite it all. Okay. So many people. Let's go to the closest here, I guess. How do I go there? Okay. Oh, I guess that's maybe our boss. François de la Noire. Is that a good one? I don't know. I'm not a taxi driver. That's he looks trustworthy. You immediately recognize the next passenger getting in your taxi. You never watch television, rarely listen to the radio, you don't read the newspaper, and yet you know François de la Noire's face. Polemicist, novelist, columnist, politician too, you think. Your passenger distractedly gives you his address. You start driving. Are you bothered by all these protest marches? This question washes over you. You forget that during the day people were holding protests. I work nights. Doesn't know how to follow up. A moment goes by before he yelps. See? There's not much chance they'd come to protest at 3 AM, eh? It's not really surprising, actually. They want to make change, but only when it's convenient. Not during vacations, not on weekends, not at night. They make fun of us in other countries. France, the land of the strikes, the land of protest marches. This country is filled with jackasses, slackers, and simpletons. I know what you mean. A smile lights up on your passenger's face. You can see just how blue his eyes are. We're just playing along. Indeed, indeed. Take the United States, for example. They have no right to strike. It's do or die. Spit flies from his mouth and disappears somewhere on the back seat. Yikes. And they didn't become the most powerful country in the world by going on strike all the time. He snickers, his notebook appears in his hand and he begins to write. Strike, protest, unrest. While businessmen and manufacturers are working around the clock. French people should be ashamed. Take a look in the mirror and decide to change, to do something. They expect too much from life. They want to have their cake and eat it too, and bite off more than they can chew. He catches his breath. Froth begins to form at the corners of his mouth. And meanwhile, the world keeps turning. While the strikers twiddle their thumbs and workers are working. No, struggling to get the job done, that's better. Idiotic protest marches. the Frenchest thing and the stupidest. We have to look the masses in the eye and say, you do not own the streets. You shall not wield them like weapons. He suddenly raises his eyes and looks at you. They are unfocused and his complexion deathly pale. Are you okay? Your passenger's gaze wanders somewhere beyond the windshield. I just remember that I once marched. This came back to me like an old childhood memory. I can see it clearly. From Versailles to Paris even. I can picture the banners, the songs, and the people's faces. There were so many of us. We got up at dawn, thousands of us, and we marched toward the capital. Our pure and wholesome voices rose up. His voice shakes a bit. What were you marching for? It was a cry from the heart of the right for high-quality religious education while France was being crushed by the weight of socialism. We were being ideologically purged, completely decimated. It was the end of the parochial schools. The end of our culture as we knew it. His voice trembles. Did you win? Yes, we won. So protesting is okay then. Sword pitches forward, as if his head were too heavy. We weren't being heard. We weren't being respected. Perhaps you're right. Single finger interrupts the conversation. But we didn't go on strike. We didn't bother anyone with our banners or our gatherings. And yet, we still won. He sighs contentedly as you pull the taxi up along the sidewalk. Those were the days. It was a great time. That was running the country. Leans in towards you like he's about to tell you a secret, with a smirk on his face. And I mean the real left, eh? He pays and gets out of the car. You can hear him talking to himself as he walks toward the front door of his building. What a lovely night. Good luck to you tomorrow with all these protest marches. It's going to be a messy one. He's gone before you have time to remind him you only work nights. You notice a newspaper on the back seat. Your passenger must have left it behind. On the one before? You grab it and put it away. Could come in handy. You start driving. Nice, nice. We got no tip. What an asshole. All the way through. Let's take that. Ooh, I mean, this is a close one. Two young women, escort girls, cross the street in front of you, surrounded by a group of... I couldn't read in time. Patricia Hossein. Hossein? That's a pretty long tour, it seems. Sounds good. A beautiful woman climbs into your cab. There is something sensual and comforting about her. No, I just missed it. But don't worry, I'm taking a cab. Anyhow, I just wanted you to know... For a minute, you think she's talking to herself, but she leans over and whispers her address to you. I think you really enjoyed it today. As you start the cab, you notice a hands-free headset practically hidden by her thick head of hair. I massage his feet tomorrow and I'll let you do the rest. A small laugh escapes her. Or the other way around, sure. And, cruise? It's normal to feel a little awkward at first, or uncomfortable. I mean, not knowing what to do. But you'll see. A couple more days and you'll get the hang of it. Anyhow, you should get to bed now. You need to keep your strength. She stopped talking. Her phone call is over. She catches your eye in the rearview mirror and bursts out laughing. You look shocked. Not at all. The passenger crosses her legs and gives you a playful pout. I don't believe you. You're letting your imagination run wild. What exactly were you imagining? That I'm on my way home from a threesome or something? There's a mischievous gleam in her eye. Could be. She lowers her gaze and turns her head, serious all of a sudden. But I'm not. The truth isn't that rosy. Actually, I was at my son's house. Oh, excuse me? Your passion roars with laughter. It seems to be doing her a world of good. No, sorry, you don't understand. I've been taking care of him since his accident. I'm a nurse. I'm sorry. Don't be. You had nothing to do with it. She pauses dramatically. At least, I don't think you did. You don't happen to drive a semi in your spare time, do you? A smile of dry amusement flickers across your passenger's face. Anyway, he's been in a coma for weeks now. Great too. Not a total vegetable, but not all that hardy either. So I had them move him to his place. Cruz and I are taking care of him now. Cruz? His fiancée. A lovely girl. The passenger puts her hand to her mouth and smothers a giggle. Totally inhibited, but sweet, very religious. She prays in Spanish at his bedside every night. They've been going out for 2 years now, and I still don't think they've... She blushes. Well, you know. Brief silence. You find yourself trying to think of something to say. How are you holding up with it? Petra doesn't answer right away. You're afraid you've embarrassed her, but her face looks relaxed. I work in palliative care, you know? I've spent the last 8 years of my life taking care of people who are going to die. The only question worth asking is how long before they die. It helps keeps things in perspective. In my son's case, there's still hope, and at least I can help. I mean, I know how to do it anyhow. For one thing, there's the day-to-day stuff. Nails, hair, beard. It all grows like crazy. There's a lot of maintenance, like a gardener. Same for the teeth. We have to brush them every now and then. Because believe me, if Tichuan wakes up looking and smelling like a werewolf, we'll never hear the end of it. A smile escapes you. Your passenger sees it in the rearview mirror and is clearly pleased. But the biggest risk is not being able to move. Our bodies are meant to move. I know it's hard to believe when our alarm clock goes off, but it's true. Our blood circulation stops working correctly, or skin gets cold, loses all its elasticity. So we have to massage him as often as we can. And then there are the bed sores. Do you know what bed sores are? I think so. In the hospital there are a lot of patients who are still conscious and who have bed sores. Their bodies are wrecked with pain. It's like being skinned alive. The worst part is we have to change their bandages twice a day. Talk about brave. Working in the hospital is hard. The work is pretty depressing, but in Tichuan's case, it's different. I don't have a choice. It has to be done. And actually, I'm happy. We can't talk to each other anymore. He doesn't even react when I touch him. So, take care of him. It's just my way of showing him I love him. That's a good thing, isn't it? Yes, it is. Pretty odd, huh? But that's how it goes. Your passenger shudders briefly. Okay, Patricia, enough of that depressing stuff. Let me tell you something funny. Earlier tonight, when Cruz and I were watching Tichuan, not exactly a pleasure cruise. My son is well over 6 feet tall, and Cruz is a cross between a matchstick and a Q-tip. So I was managing as best as I could, rolling him over on one side and then the other. Just trying to help though the truth is it's pretty hard for her to take. I mean, it's all new to her. It can't be that much fun. So she was muttering religious mumbo-jumbo to herself in Spanish, Dios mío, and whatnot. And just as I was running Tichon back onto his back, guess what? He got an enormous erection. Once you start to laugh, your passenger joins in. Two of you enjoy a good long laugh. After a while, your passenger manages to catch her breath. A big old hard-on. So, how did Cruz react? First she turned bright red, and then she pulled the sheet up over him as fast as she could. Your passenger marks a short pause to emphasize what's coming. But it looked even worse. It was like Casper the Ghost. Fields of warm laughter filled the air. For a moment you were happy, as if a weight had been lifted. You pull up to the address she had given you. You stop the cab and she hands you the fare. Thanks for the conversation. The ride went by really fast. She reaches for the door, then stops. You can sense she's really on edge. It's good to be able to talk. Pretty unusual in Paris to meet someone so warm. Good luck. She shrugs automatically as if she doesn't understand what you meant. Same to you. She shuts the door carefully, then walks away. Your eyes follow her as she climbs the steps of the door of the building. A moment later, she's gone. As you start the cab, you catch sight of something on the back seat. A Kleenex. You wriggle around and pick it up. Read it. You unfold the handkerchief. You see the word Patricia and a phone number written inside. Oh, we scored a phone number already. Look up at the building and smile. You notice a newspaper on the back seat. Your last passenger must have left it behind, or the one before. You were able to put it away. Again? Should come in handy. So now we have a whole newspaper stand by now. You turn the key in the ignition and drive away. And we got a tip! Look at us. Let's take it. The door suddenly opens and a woman gets into the back seat. Having a good night? For a second you freeze. It's one of the cops working on the judge's case. She grins at you, her voice creaks. You remember seeing her at the hospital. Something already bothered you about her. You know, it's pretty crazy. For weeks, I've been saying to myself, there's something off about you. Something not so nice. I dug around, mulled it over, bugged all my fellow cops about it. Because I was sure you lied to us. And I keep going. There's a cold sneer on her face. I'm going to be frank with you. Leans over to you. I don't think you're the judge. No. I just can't picture it. She squints, like she's trying to make you out from far away. Like you'd have gone to the extent of hurting yourself. Yeah, between us, it's a bit of a stretch. She stares at you. But not enough of a stretch for my chief to stop going on and on about you. Seriously, he talks about you all the time. If I didn't know better, I think he had a crush on you. She smirks. No. I think he's more interested in your profile. Prison at 17. Icy chill fills your gut. And for murder, too. You open your mouth, but nothing comes out. As you got out, you've kept a low profile, but you're lying about your name and your address. I checked. It's normal, you'd say. If they get word of your time served, no loan for your permit, no lease for your car, meaning no second chance in life. Her voice becomes softer, almost warm. I personally like guys who want a second chance. No, I like guys who fight for a second chance. Basically, I like guys who are willing to work for me. She leans forward, her shining cat-like eyes narrowing. My chief wants you to go to the prosecutor with a first and last name, with evidence. Actually, knowing him, he's not so hot on evidence. So, I'll give you info. Victims, suspects, medical reports, some photos that are a bit... She makes a gang noise. You have to be discreet. Keep it between you and me. Interrogate, ask questions, dig around. I'm not a cop. He shrugs. Don't worry. You're already keener than half the squad. And don't forget, I'm not asking you to make an arrest or deliver the killer wrapped up with a bow in front of the station, okay? You're no Batman. You're just here to get me some information. She rummages around in her pockets for what seems like forever. Here, take my card. I'll call you in 3-4 days, just to check in. We'll chat. I'll let you know if I have any new info. She takes on a didactic, paternalistic tone, like she was giving you a list of recommendations for the 100th time. Don't get caught, don't get arrested. Also, I wouldn't recommend trying to leave Paris. I know what you look like and I know who your friends are. You can either be the solution or the problem, my friend. She takes a minute to scan your face, your emotions. If I have to, I'll go check in on you know who. Her smile is biting. That reminds me, do you know you've done time? You shake your head, she snickers. Aw, little dirtbag, you cover your tracks well. Did what I could. Yeah, if you say so. She sighs in a tired, exaggerated way. Don't try to mess with me, man. If things don't go well, I'll turn you in. Send you pictures to all my friends in the media and every asshole in Paris. Your pictures with your name on it, your real name. Anyone close to you will have their places searched, they'll be put under house arrest, spend nights in jail. You have any idea how tense things are with that fucker's trial underway? Sigh. You know just what she's trying to get at. Come to think of it, your last names are almost the same. You could be brothers, actually. Nothing like that terrorist. She smiles. Let me tell you, with that face of yours and your handle, they'll welcome you with open arms. She takes on a serious tone, businesslike. I want to catch this killer personally. I want to drag him to court, ruin his fucking life, with a bang. Can't botch this case, you got me? Neither can you, right? Obviously. Well, great then. We see eye to eye. So you can just say you're my informant, my CI. Ripped open your gut, you saw your own inside, you were in a coma. Yeah, you have plenty of reason to want to get back at him. She furrows her brow. Yeah, I think you're actually going to do what I tell you to do. You investigate, ask questions, listen to all the rumors, and you come up with a list of suspects. She lays her hand on the door handle and freezes. Oh, right. And don't get fired. Without this cap, you're worth nothing to me. You glare at her. She puts her hand up and you can hear the words behind it. This conversation never happened. I'll make sure you get more intel tomorrow. I'll find a way. Until then, not a word to anyone. Obviously. Not a word. The door opens, squeaks, and slams shut. Fucking bitch. Sit alone for a while, teeth clenched, dry-eyed, ears buzzing. Shit. Back seat, the cop left a pile of papers. Shit. Key in the ignition, motor running. Radio on crackles. Turn it off and start driving. Talking to passengers might unlock new documents and clues for your investigation. You will find them back at your studio after your shift. 6 clues discovered, available in your room. take a second to enjoy the silence of your studio apartment. Outside, the city is slowly waking up. You can still hear the hum of the taxi buzzing in your ears. You throw the files Busset or Busset? I'm not good with French, so maybe let me know how to pronounce this. Gave you on the table. On the wall you hung up the big corkboard where you used to pin up photos of your nephews. They've been gone since you got out of... Your plan is simple. Jot down all the pieces of evidence and connect them to the suspects. The guilty parties won't necessarily be the one with the most evidence against them, but the one with the most compelling evidence against them. It's like you're building a story about each suspect, trying to understand their motives. Understand how he or she got into this situation. You're suddenly overcome with the desire to sleep. You close your eyes, press your fingers to your eyelids, and let out a yawn. You glance at your bed and get to work. Okay, I think we will take a break here. Very exciting development. Let me know what your first thoughts about Night Shift are in the comments below. Very excited to continue this. I think things will be really picking up now, and we will continue or really start our investigation in the next episode. If you enjoyed the episode, please give the video a like, maybe consider subscribing to the channel, share the video with friends, family, and the people on the internet. That all helps me out a whole bunch and will bring you more content in the future. I will be back with more Clicks and Classics Night Shift tomorrow. Until then, have a great time.